Well, good morning, greetings, and salutations, everybody out there in YouTube land. Hey, it's a great day to be a Detroit Lions fan. As we all know, the Lions went into Arrowhead and got a real hard fought victory last night. Sorry if I'm coming at you a little later in the morning than normal. It's just, stayed up a little bit later, did the post game show, had to wrap everything up, and then get ready for work this morning. So, on a little bit of a break here, I want to tune in, check in with you guys, and give you guys some thoughts from last night's game. We talked about it in the live broadcast. You heard me belate it to death that you could see the team just the first game. A lot of these guys hadn't played functionally together in a game yet. It took a while for them to get on the same page. But let's start the topic off with the defense. The defense, other than some miscommunications, especially in the first half, did they play badly? I don't think so. I think they actually played pretty good. You could see the impact the newer secondary had the later the game went on. CJ is going to make a huge difference for this team. Kirby's Kirby. We all saw him last year. He's going to improve things for us. And then, hey, look at Sutton. Sutton, I thought, didn't have the greatest game, but by no means a bad game. Now talk about the linebackers. I thought they did a great job of rotating guys in and out because they all have some pluses and some minuses. Things they do great versus other people. Jack Campbell, though, let's talk about the rookie. For his first NFL game, I thought he looked pretty good. Especially, it's hard for me to believe I'm saying this about a Lions linebacker, but especially in pass coverage. This guy was out there matched up against some receivers. And yes, when Mahomes scrambled sometimes and extended plays, allowing receivers a little bit more and more time to pull away, they were able to get away from him. But think about that thought. For 3 to 5 seconds in some cases, Campbell covered an NFL wide receiver. And I get it's not Tyreek Hill or whatever, not the elitist receiver in the league. But you know what? The fact that he's covering receivers at all, that needs to say something about him. He also looked pretty decent in run support. Branch, I think we all get it, the highlight reel, pick six, all that. But also think before that pick, look at his positioning. He's ready to bear down and lay a boom on somebody. I think this kid could end up being incredibly special. It's one game, so I don't want to say anybody's going to the Hall of Fame and getting the yellow jacket or whatever, but at least from the defensive side, those two look pretty dang good. Aiden Hutchinson, the second-year player. We didn't get any sacks, but think about how often he's getting pressures. I want to say he set a personal record of 6 pressures in one game. He got to Mahomes quite often. It's just, hey, Mahomes can scramble. I want to throw out an unsung hero for the offense, and we're going to have to pay attention to this throughout the season, but Jonah Jackson, the left guard, that kid might have been the best offensive lineman on the field last night. They were using him on pulls, switch plays, and he was just opening up holes for the running game left and right. You watch him in pass protection. He didn't get beat once that I saw. It doesn't mean I didn't miss something, but he, to me, looked like one of the top 3 players on the field last night. And I get because it's an offensive lineman, it's not going to be talked about very much. But if you watch the replay, if you watch some highlights or whatever, take a moment and just watch him in work. And he's working hard. I don't think there's any way if he plays like this the rest of the year, Detroit Lions can afford to let him go. I get he's a guard. I get you don't want to pay guards a ton. But that guy there, like I said, he might have been one of the top 3 players on the field. And think about who number 1 is, more than likely to most people, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. All right, moving on from that. Some other players you can name. Hey, look at Gibbs, the rookie. I'll say this. I didn't think he was going to be that physical. And I get maybe it's just opening day games. Hey, I'm going to do some things just off adrenaline. But he was dropping some shoulders into people and putting in some work. He had the spin moves going. I'm not going to say he was Barry Sanders out there, but you could see his escapability, juke ability, and the ability to be a playmaker. I think we're going to see a lot more out of him as the season progresses and his comfortability level develops. Now I'll talk about Laporta. I get Brock Wright was the starter, but Laporta was the starter as far as amount of reps, targets, etc. Don't hold me to this. I don't have the stat sheet in front of me, but I want to say he finished with 6 catches on 6 targets. That's not a bad opening day game. We all get that the first quarter and really the first half was kind of their preseason for the starters for the Lions. They didn't really have those preseason snaps to kind of get gelled, but for the second straight year, the Lions went with this. Last year, they nearly beat Philadelphia, who made it to the Super Bowl. This year, they did beat Kansas City, who obviously made it to the Super Bowl and won it. Say what you want about some things, but here's one other thing I'll throw out. Josh Reynolds had a great game and needed to for the Lions. St. Brown had a kind of below average for him game, but I'll throw this at you. I think the Lions did get exposed with their receiving core a bit, in my opinion. A lot of times they weren't able, when Kansas City went man across the board and bumped coverage or press coverage, the Lions struggled to get separation, and I was surprised Kansas City didn't stick with that more and more, because you could see a lot of the receivers just could not separate on a consistent basis. That's where I think really in the second quarter and the third quarter, the Lions offense struggled to produce much, because Kansas City during that time frame was almost straight man-to-man press. And hey, if it wasn't for a play or two here and there, the Lions would have been in real trouble. What are they going to do about that? You've already heard on Lions Talk Live us speculate about them trading for, Mike Evans or somebody else. J-Mo, if teams are going to put 8-9 guys in the box like Kansas City was consistently, especially in the second half, saying, hey, we're not going to let you run it, you're going to have to throw it, it means other teams have identified this problem too. They didn't think the Lions could beat them consistently enough to pull them out of that overloaded box situation. So somebody outside St. Brown has got to beat coverage. Last night, Josh Reynolds was able to do it enough in the second half to help us out. But I think you're asking a lot for him to do that day in and day out, game in and game out. The Lions are going to have to get somebody out there opposite side St. Brown to help pull coverage. That's also right before the half. If you saw when the Lions tried to, with 32 seconds left, go down the field, Kansas City shut down all of the Lions receivers, and that's why Goff had to throw it underneath all the time, basically, to Laporta. He did have a couple deep shots to Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones, I think, will be okay the first part of the year, but as the season wears on, let's face it, he is the NFL's oldest receiver. It's going to be hard for him to continue to produce. I hope he can, though. So anyways, now let's talk about this. Lions players are going to have a day or two off. My anticipation is they're going to have 2 days off. Then they'll come in. They'll probably watch the Seattle game as it happens, and then start prepping for them. Let me ask you guys, put it in the comments section below, what do you think are 1 or 2 areas the Lions are going to have to focus on to shut down Seattle at Ford Field and become 2-0? Right off the bat, I'm going to say this. You're going to have to force Geno Smith to not be able to scramble on you. Mahomes did it last night, and in fact, he was the game's leading rusher, I want to say with 45 yards. We were able to hold him at 227 yards passing, so really holding Mahomes' total under 300 yards is a pretty impressive effort by the defense. But Geno Smith is coming to town, and you need to really limit what he's able to do. Last year, I think we pretty much just let him do whatever he wanted, and it hurt us gravely. So let me know your guys' thoughts on that. That's mine. And I will say this, Seattle, at least on paper, looks like their defense is going to be much improved, just like ours. We'll see what shakes out. All right, guys, I'll let you get on with your day. If there's any kind of breaking news, developments, whatever, I'll chime in, as you know, later in the day when I get a little bit of a break from work action. Hope you all enjoyed the live show last night. Sorry if maybe there were a few technical issues at the start, but I think we got most of them worked out. Working with a restaurant who's never done anything like that before, it's a scramble for everybody. Don't forget to hit that like button, and if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. I'd really like to try to get to, 3,200 subscribers by the Seattle game. Take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you all next time on Lions Talk Live.